You're watching Day or Night Exotics TV. I'm Del the Knight, and this is Raven. She is a Phormictopus Cancerides, Haitian Brown Birdeater, one of my favorite tarantulas in the tarantula hobby for obvious reasons. Big tarantula, good feeding response. This video covers about a month and a half of this little portion of her life between this molt and a feeding. And the feeding response, obviously, you guys want to check that out because she's just magnificent. And her doing the little happy dance after she eats, really good footage of that. But one of the things I love about these tarantulas and why she's one of my favorites in my collection, I've had her for a very long time. She's always had very good molts more regularly than any tarantula in my collection. And for a while there, I was really hoping she would be a male, because if you see a male P. Cancerides, if you haven't seen one, go check them out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful male tarantulas. It's a shame they don't live as long as the females because they really are something else. I sexed her around 2.5 3 inches when she was around that size. I got her as a 1 inch. I've had her for a few years, and like I said, she molts very regularly, and she's always had really good intact molts every single time that I sex her. So I was able to sex her pretty much every single time she molted ever since she was around 2.5 inches, and she's been confirmed for a long time. If you don't know, these tarantulas are defensive. Mine's a bit defensive. She's not as defensive as she used to be. The hungrier she is, the more defensive she is, and anytime she's around about ready to molt, she's extremely defensive. She's never been aggressive. She's never tried to run towards me. There has been times where she looked like she wanted to be a little more aggressive, but she's never done that. So, but to be safe, I always put a warning sign that this is one of the tarantulas I do not recommend people who come over to my place to see my animals that they, do anything as far as opening that cage, because she is very unpredictable and more grumpy than she is not. She's around 6.5 to close to 7 inches right now, and I'll show you in the vid with the ruler just exactly how long this molt was. But right now she clearly is around 6.5 to 7 inches long, and not even a full-grown specimen yet. As you can see here, she is very beautiful. She is definitely due for a rehouse. I'm going to be moving out of my home soon and rehousing my family to a new house. So once we get over there, she'll be rehoused. Definitely be doing a video on that one. So into the feeding, like I said, she is a super worm nut. She loves her Mario worms, and she does not hesitate to take them down. If I threw about 4 of them in there, she would take them down. This particular feeding, she was a little more laid back. She wasn't as aggressive and insane as she is sometimes. I mean, sometimes she just goes in and just destroys those worms. But this time she was a little more laid back. She kind of took her time and did her thing, which is okay. Most of the time I'm used to her going ballistic on them. But it was good to see her not so nuts, and I can keep the camera on her and actually film her just doing her things. Most of the time I'd have to close it up because she gets so nuts that, she'll just start doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and I just want her to eat, so I'll close the lid up and stop filming. But this time she didn't seem to mind me filming her. She didn't mind the light, so I went ahead and filmed her. If you don't know what this is called the happy dance. Just kind of do their thing with their spinnerets and kind of spin a little web and do their thing. She normally eats a couple times a month. I'll feed her a good bunch of super worms, and that keeps her happy. I don't want to overfeed her because she can get obese very quickly. So I kind of pull that back just a little bit, because she would eat every single time I threw something in there. She would eat something. So I kind of don't overfeed her. I don't want her rump to get too big. She likes to climb, and since she's going to be going into a bigger enclosure, I want to kind of keep her a little bit on the slimmer side, not get her so heavy and bulky where she can't climb. Because one of the things she's always done is climb. For a while there, she actually thought she was an arboreal. She'd be up in her fake plants and climbing on the cage, and so I had to make sure that substrate was quite a bit high for her in case she happened to have a fall. But she's been, for the most part, pretty cool. She used to hide out for a long time when she was younger, as young tarantulas seem to do. But she wasn't an excavator, but she definitely would burrow herself down into her hide and stay there. Now she never ever goes in her hide. She's always out. I see her every time I go in. She doesn't seem to mind me at all, and I can't remember the last time I seen her in a hide. It's literally been years since I've seen her in her hide. I provide it anyway just in case she gets spooked, but as you can see, if you look down in there, she probably wouldn't even fit in it. and that's because she doesn't really do it. You saw some little bit of mold in there. One of the things I do with my aggressive tarantulas, if you're a beginner, or I shouldn't say aggressive, my defensive ones, if there's anything in there like extra food bulbuses or mold or anything like that, for these types of tarantulas, I'll never do it when they're just in there and I'm not going to feed them. I usually feed them and then I take it out. It just makes it easier. She doesn't seem to mind it. If every time I try to take that stuff out while she's in there without feeding, she goes nuts. It just makes it impossible to get it out because she'll attack the tongs. She'll be trying to run out of the enclosure. So I usually do that with these little more of a bigger aggressive teas. I'll go ahead and take that stuff out when she's fed. And I'll kind of do some maintenance around her, and she really doesn't mind. I've literally taken that hide out and put it back in, cleaned it out while she's feeding. She's so hungry and greedy, all she cares about is feeding. So as long as something's in her fangs, she could care less what I'm doing in the enclosure as far as watering it, adding a water dish, taking the water dish out, etc. These are beautiful animals. If you don't have one, I highly recommend them. Even as beginners, they're manageable. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you next time.